guys, it's Sam, and this is the I wish I was going to BookNet Fest tag. This tag was created by Kathy. I will link her channel down below. She has done tags for the event numerous years in a row, just out of her really liking the event, which is great. Like, we never ask her to do this, but this is a really great way for us to talk about the event both before and after. And this year BookNet Fest had to change a little bit along with a lot of other events, and we are having it completely online. So if you're not familiar with BookNet Fest, this is a book event that myself and Madi, from My Name is Madi Inez, created almost 4 years ago. This would have been our 4th year, and we have it every year in Orlando, Florida, and it's basically bringing the online book community offline to have panels about various topics that we want to get more in depth with and talk about more in depth in person, to network, to meet each other, to hang out, to do workshops, and just to generally have fun. So the day I'm filming this is this previous Sunday, which would have been the last day of BookNet Fest, so I am very much in my feels. But thankfully today we actually did our live stream of our keynote, and that announces what we're going to be doing for this year and how we will be having the event online throughout the month of September. So if you're interested in participating in the event this year, seeing what we have to offer, and getting kind of a taste of BookNet Fest so that maybe hopefully in the future you can attend in person, I will link the keynote down below and on the screen. So the first question is, staying home is the best option right now but doesn't cure wanderlust. What is a book you love that deals with travel? As soon as travel came up, what immediately came to mind for me was the Unhoneymooners by Christina. This is a standalone adult contemporary romance and was the first romance book that I ever read last year. And this is a hate-to-love romance featuring two characters who have to go on their siblings, because their siblings got married, their siblings' honeymoon, because the wedding caterer kind of accidentally poisons everybody except for them. So they have to go, in order to not waste the honeymoon, on this honeymoon together and pretend to be married to get away with it, but they hate each other. It's a beautiful trope, and they have to go to, I believe it's Hawaii, and it's great. It is peak travel feels and hate-to-love romance. It's great. Number 2, internet friends are even more important now that we are physically isolated. Tell me about it. Name a book with excellent friendships. This is sort of my go-to these days and has been for years. That is the Witchland series by Susan Dennard, starting with Truth Witch. This series has so many close friendships. Some of the magic in here involves these threads that kind of connect people, like metaphysically, not actually physically, but basically some of the magic users in this world can actually see threads, and like there's heart threads, but there's also these like friendship threads, and it is so good for these people that are so connected. Like, yes, this book has romance in it, but I would say the friendships are so much more important than the romance. The two main characters are best friends, like soulmate best friends, and the whole story revolves around them, but then there's also a lot of side characters that are that close of friends as well. So it's just a series that's fantasy, but based very deeply in human connection, and that is why I love it so much. Number 3, book club reads can be a powerful way to bring people together to discuss important topics or themes. What is a book you would love to read with the club? That's funny because 2020, my friends and I started a book club. I know a lot of people have been doing that this year, but we are the House Salt Book Club, and so we've done books every month, so there are a lot of books that I've already discussed with people in the book club. But of the books that I've read that I haven't read with a book club, I think the one I would most want to read with a book club would be The Winter of the Witch by Katherine Arden. This would be very difficult because it's the 3rd book in a series, and most book clubs, unless they read like the rest of the series, are not going to pick this book. But this is a book that while I was reading, I was writing down lines, writing down themes, writing down how the themes were connecting to the other books in the series, and like the character arcs and all of this stuff. Like, it dissected so much about the world and the mythology and the characters and their arcs and their relationships and different lines, and it was just so good. That would have been a book that I would have loved to read with a group and gush about, but again, would be very challenging for a book club to do. Number 4, bibliophilic vendors are a great way to support the event. Very true. And now small businesses need our support in return. Name a vendor you've purchased bookish items from or would like to hype because what they make is fantastic. I actually don't tend to buy a lot of bookish merch. It's just not something that I do. I do get a lot of it within my Owl Crate boxes every month, so I don't tend to have to reach out and get merch myself. But it's funny because the vendor that immediately came to mind was actually Myris Candles. They are a candle company that we worked with last year and did a BookNet Fest themed candle, but I discovered them years ago from them reaching out to me to send me bookish themed scents, and I've smelled a lot of candles in my day that are bookish themed because, again, they come a lot in like subscription boxes and things like that. These scents are the best scents that I have ever smelled for a bookish candle, and I've smelled all the major candle companies. So I know, like, these were so good. They sent me, I think at the time, it was like a Grishaverse box of candles. They're so good. I slowly am burning through all of them. I think I have like maybe one left, or I might have burned through the last one. But there was like an Alina, a Darkling, a Maul, and a Nikolai, I think. And they were so delicious. So highly recommend them for candle scents. And they have like bookish stuff, but also like bookish aesthetic atmosphere type ones, like, you know, like the library and like fall cabin and things like that. So love them. Panels are a great way to hear a discussion between various voices. If you could put together a panel for a future BookNet Fest, what would be the topic and who would you invite? So this like tag is obviously not necessarily meant for like Madi and I, but we have done it. I know she's recorded hers, but as of the filming of this video, she hasn't posted hers yet. But we have behind the scenes because we do know what panel topics we had lined up for 2020. And I know I'm biased, but I think our panel topics are always fantastic. 2020 was like next level. Like there were so many things that we were really getting to because we kind of started out the event making sure we covered the basics, making sure we covered the foundations because we didn't want to jump in necessarily right away to like intermediate level discussions. But this was the year, and last year too, where we really started to get into more of that, and there were so many panels that I know we both were so excited about, and we had really good speakers lined up that they can hopefully attend next year. And a lot of these panels will carry over into next year, which is great because we still want to talk about them and they're going to remain relevant. But man, I am bummed because some of them we are still doing in like the podcast versions of the panels that we are having this year, but we're only doing 4 of those panels. So we really had to narrow it down and figure out what would translate really well to a podcast, because there are some panels that are just better done in person. So there are some that we're not doing this year, but we'll hopefully be doing next year. But just a taste of some of the topics that I was really, really excited about, which is like all of them, but like just a taste. We were going to have a full panel discussing cancel culture. We have a panel discussing readathons and how readathons have become such a big trend within the book community in the last couple of years. We had a whole panel for queer lit, and one of the like specialty panels, because I feel like every year I want to do like a genre specific panel. This year my baby was going to be the space panel. Last year we did goth fantasy. This year was going to be space. So yeah, we're gonna do those in the future, I'm pretty sure, but I'm still like, ugh, I want to do them so bad. And we had like, oh man, I was just so excited for those. So yeah, if those things at all interest you, definitely check out 2021 because they probably will be popping up then. I'm so excited. Workshops are an excellent hands-on approach to learning new skills. Name a book that has taught you something you're interested in. So as far as fiction books, I have noticed that when fiction books delve into sculpture and art, I really enjoy that, particularly sculpture. So I would say I'll Give You the Sun by Janie Nelson with the focus on sculpture. Like there's something about sculpture that just makes me like so happy, but I don't want to sculpt myself, but like hearing about sculptures and sculptors, I just love it so much. Outside of that, I've read a few nonfiction books this year, one of them being How to Be Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. Really recommend that. I talked about that recently. I think it was last month's wrap up. But a very easy to follow book for anybody looking on how to be anti-racist, and that whole discussion covers a lot of different realms and is very intersectional and has both the history of racism in America specifically and also action steps to take and policy steps to take, which I really liked hearing about. The other nonfiction I've been reading, for those of you that have caught a lot of my live streams lately, has been like more witchy type books, witchy, metaphysical type like nonfiction books. So I actually talk about those more on my other channel. So if you guys don't know, I have another channel, and that's where I talk about all my other hobbies not related to books. Although these are books, I just didn't feel like they were appropriate for this channel where I talk about mostly fiction. So if you're interested in some of the like witchy woo-woo stuff, I will have my channel linked down below. I always do, in case you're interested. And that's where I've done a number of reviews now on like witchy books that I've read. Meetups are an informal way to get to know people with the same interests. Name a booktuber you'd love to hang out with once we can do that type of thing again, hopefully in 2021. There's so many booktubers, and many of them I've been very fortunate to meet, but there's so many people that I miss. Obviously, I miss all of my really close friends from House Salt Book Club. We did get to see each other in March right before everything shut down because Connor, our friend, got married in Mexico. So we all went to Mexico, and then 2 weeks later, everything shut down. So we at least got to get a dose of each other, but I'm still very sad because we would have seen each other at least once, if not twice by now, again this year. So that makes me very, very sad. All of the regular attendees at BookNet Fest also are people that I really enjoy seeing every year. So many people that either help out or just like regular attendees, very enthusiastic about the event. I couldn't even name all of them. They're people that I love seeing and are just so supportive of the event and so supportive of the community, and it's just really fantastic. As far as people that I have not met, I mean, there's so many people that I have met that I'm like, I miss you, I want to see you. As far as booktubers that I haven't had the chance to meet, I would say Shay from Shay Adventure is like one of the booktubers that I really would love to meet and that I feel like we are very similar personality types, so she's my fellow fantasy queen and I would really love to meet her. Also some of my like international booktube SFF peeps like Elizabeth from Books and Pieces and Caitlin from Kitty G, and some of those people that like I've never gotten a chance to meet because they're across the pond. But there are also so many booktubers that I've only had a chance to meet a few times or once even that I would love to be able to see again. Prime example being Sarah Jane of the Book Life, who I've met once at BookNet Fest. She came from BookNet Fest 2 years ago, and I had planned to go see her over Christmas this year. That's obviously not going to happen, so I am very upset about that. I also love Chelsea of Chelsea Darling Reads, love to hang out with her, love to hang out with Julie of Pages and Pens. I was really excited to hopefully see Jessie again, who I met last year from Bow Ties and Books, as well as Brody and Cav. Like, they all came last year and I only got like small snippets. Jessie and I had a great conversation by the pool last year, and I just really wanted to replicate that because we're gonna have a pool party this year and I wanted a chance to like get to talk to a lot of people, because during the event usually we don't have a ton of time, Mari and I, to like chat with people. So the pool party was gonna be our opportunity to chill with people and talk to them, and we are not going to get that chance, and I am sad. There's so many people that I could obviously mention. I don't want anyone to feel like I'm leaving them out. So yeah, I'm just very emo that I couldn't meet anybody this year new or see people again. I also had all these plans when I moved back to Illinois to have meetups in Chicago, like bookish meetups, because a ton of us are in the Chicago area. And I haven't been able to, obviously, and it's like it's fine because, you know, safety first, like I get that, but I'm also just like, I want to hang out with you guys. So yeah, I'm very sad. I'm gonna stop whining now. But that is it for the I wish I was at BookNet Fest tag. I am very much in my feels for BookNet Fest. I'm obviously wearing my BookNet Fest shirt from previous years. So yeah, comment below, let me know some of your thoughts about, again, like panels you want to see, things like that. And hopefully many of you can join us next year for BookNet Fest 2021. Again, check down below for all the information about this year's online event. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.